If you missed out on season 1 of the Hyperliquid Airdrop, there were several people that cracked in several $1 million just from the Hyperliquid Airdrop. They actually have season 2 going on, and there's some rumblings happening about it now, and some people are starting to talk about it. But for the most part, in my opinion, Hyperliquid is still really underfarmed. If you look at the EVM, they only have about $1.4 billion in TVL, and this is mainly due to the recent spike and price increase of Hype and other people finally starting to take notice. There are a couple of ways to farm the points. Obviously, one is going to be going on to Hyperliquid and simply doing perps trading. In my opinion, this is pretty saturated, being that a lot of people are already trading on it, and we have the big whale James Wynn, who literally is just swinging billions in trades. Well, not billions, but he's making positions that are worth billions, just swinging long and short. Today he just went short. But going to that is the first is simply just farming the points on Hyperliquid by making some trades. I'll drop a link in the description below so you guys can sign up. You can get, it's like 5% off trading fees. Just use code Drake, and this will allow you to sign up into the platform and to start to farm some points. This is where your points will show up. These are distributed every other week or so. Right now they're doing based on a monthly epoch basis, but this is where you will see your points show up. Now the second way is simply just keeping it simple and staking. I'm currently staking some Hype in multiple wallets. Here's one of the wallets where I'm staking some Hype. The reason I'm spreading it amongst multiple wallets is that if there's a chance that it's like, hey, look, if you staked, then you get this bonus multiplier, or hey, if you stake this, you just get this blanket amount of points. It just distributes it across just for that chance. Now, don't get too greedy. That's why I have like 2 or 100 in each wallet. If you get too greedy and you're like, oh, dude, I'll do like 50 wallets and do like 1 in each, well, you might just miss the airdrop altogether and not get any points. But this is just one of the strategies that I'm doing. Make sure you guys look in and see which ones that you're, like, if you're choosing one to delegate to, make sure to see if they're active in the community. Sometimes these go down from time to time, so make sure you guys are checking them from time to time. I staked amongst multiple validators, some of the community validators, and just in that chance that if there is an airdrop to that particular validator, well, you get that airdrop. And one of them in particular it was Hey Buddy. I'm going to show it to you guys. So I randomly got dropped a token. It was just Buddy token. And it was for no reason whatsoever. It was literally just in my wallet just for staking and staking to their validator. And I got some Hey Buddy, or All Right Buddy. I mean, it's not anything crazy, but it was like 300 bucks. So hey, I can't complain at all. It's literally just some free Hype. But this is an example of some of the different airdrops that you can get just by being active and messing around in the community. Now, the Buddy airdrop, this happened like several months ago, but still, it's just something to consider. And another example is Looped Hype. These guys literally just airdropped their token to people for anyone that used it. There were barely any users, so this was really underfarmed. And people who got the Loop token, it was literally just free money that was printed out of thin air. Now, keep in mind, the token, it probably got absolutely roasted. Let's go ahead and look it up. But again, it's free money, so you can't complain about that. So if you look at the Loop token price, yeah, the thing got absolutely roasted. But I mean, again, it's literally just free money. So if you got the token, do whatever you want with it. You could simply hold it if you wanted to. But in my opinion, there's just an opportunity just to sell it and buy more Hype with it. Sometimes it's better to keep it simple with stuff like this and stay away from the derivatives and the different tokens, and just stay focused on the main and best in breed, which we kind of saw that on Solana when it was trading around $8. Sure, you could have played with some of the meme coins, but in general, if you just stayed focused and stayed with the blue chip, you would have been okay with the $8 to what it was like 200 something dollar price appreciation. Again, don't overthink it and keep it simple, especially when with Solana, it's something you can size into, as opposed to a meme coin. It's harder to size into something like that. But going back into the points platform, obviously first is signing up and getting onto the platform. Now we need to go and get to the EVM. There's a couple ways to do this. The first is you can buy some Hype directly through Hyperliquid on the actual exchange. And to get funds onto Hyperliquid, you go straight from Arbitrum and deposit it onto Hyperliquid. Once you have your USDC, you can buy some hype, and then there's a button that says here transfer to/from EVM. This is where you would be able to transfer directly to the EVM. You will have a section for hype. It will be at the bottom. I don't have any hype in this. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so transfer to/from EVM, and you can do that right here. These are just a bunch of random dust tokens I bought way back in the day. And this was just also, again, farming the airdrop, just buying some of these spot tokens. So you would click all, and then you would go to spot, and these were just some of the tokens that you can choose from. And this was just, again, to farm some points, and it actually helped. So just something to consider. If you're doing this method of depositing USDC directly from Arbitrum, you can also choose Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana and get your USDC on here and buy your hype. That's the first option. The second one is you use one of the native, well, not native bridges, but partner bridges. And one of them is Mayan. So Mayan will allow you to take your funds directly from Solana and bridge them onto Hyperliquid. Yeah, there is a fee involved in it, but that is one of those options as well. Me personally, the cheapest way is you simply just deposit USDC from Arbitrum onto Hyperliquid, buy hype, and then transfer the hype tokens to the EVM. That is by far the cheapest way. If you're going to use the partner bridges, especially when you're going in with size, they charge a percentage and it will eat into that. So let's say you're transferring over 100K and 1%, that's $1,000. So that $1,000, actually it's more because it changes the amount of percentage that they charge based on the volumes that you put through. But you can play around with it. So I'll show you, for example, if we do Solana to Hyperliquid and we do some USDC, I'll just show you what this looks like. Let's say we did $100,000. Your slippage, it's actually not that bad. It's only $78. But just giving out examples, you could save $78 by just going directly onto Hyperliquid, and you just get the hype token. It's really simple to do it, but hey, some people don't know that. Now, going to the different protocols that you can farm, besides staking, is going to be HyperSwap. HyperSwap is literally just like a Uniswap on Hyperliquid. If you go on DeFi Llama, you can see a list of the different protocols here. We're going to do with some of the mid to top ones, and the reason for that is, guys, you're dealing with smart contracts here. So when you're messing with some of these protocols, just be careful not to bet the house or play with all your money on one protocol, because there's a chance that the protocol can get exploited and you lose all your funds. At that point in time, it's really not even worth it. So it's best to play with the stuff that's been around for a bit. Even though most of this stuff is new, it's best to play around with the stuff that has higher TVL and make sure you're monitoring these positions. Again, you're dealing with smart contracts. Me personally, I prefer the staking option the best because, one, I would rather keep it simple and hold my hype exposure. Two, I want to farm that airdrop by participating in the ecosystem, by supporting the network, by staking my hype tokens. It's a proof of stake network, and having my hype token staked, it's basically saying, hey, look, I'm supporting this and I'm validating transactions and providing network security. But I am still playing with some of the funds on the EVM because, again, I want to farm these points. And as you saw, I have some open positions on the perp DEX just to, again, farm some points. But going back to this, couple of options to farm HyperSwap. They actually have a full layout of what you need to do of how to farm different points. You can use the native bridge. You can hold certain ecosystem tokens. You can make certain volume trades. You try different protocols. It's loading right now, but I'll show it to you. But you can see here, use the bridge, you deposit onto Hyperbeep, and use HyperSwap. It literally has a full list of things, and this is how you can get points for the HyperSwap. In my opinion, this one is pretty heavily farmed, but if you guys want to try this, I'll drop a link in the description below so you guys can check it out. You can use code Drake, and you can get some bonus points as well. But if you go to the pools, I just have a pooled position of some hype and L hype, maybe trying to farm additional hype or loop hype incentives, but it's likely that they aren't going to have it anymore. But still, I am farming the HyperSwap airdrop. The APR is not that great here, but hey, again, it's just for points. So the next one that you can farm is going to be HyperFi. Now, there is a bigger lending protocol, but right now it's basically tapped out. You can't even use it. It's Hyperlend. So you can't even borrow any tokens here. You can lend out tokens, I think, on these two, but you aren't able to borrow anything. So if you're messing around with this, you can lend the tokens, but you can't borrow. So it's kind of like a one-sided thing. If this is ever open, this is probably one that you can use. But right now, again, it's completely tapped. So your next best option is going to be something like this, where you can lend out some hype tokens, loot type, whatever you want, and then you can borrow against it. This, I just have a small position open, just playing around with it, using it. Again, this is just literally using the stuff. That way you can farm some points. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and do your thing. You can play in the ecosystem, you can buy, sell, whatever you want. You can also mess around with the vault. Again, there's literally icons on there that says, hey, look, you can get some points for doing this. Like, look, 10x points if you're just depositing into here. So again, those are different things that you can look for and kind of research your own self. This is just kind of like a brief overview. Another option, if those lending protocols are closed, like this one, or over on Hyperlend, this is completely tapped out, that's okay. You can go to something like Felix. Felix is a CDP model, so think of this like MakerDAO. You deposit tokens in and you can borrow against it. So an example here is I would deposit 60 hype and then I can borrow some USDT against it, or USDT 0 against this. So in this position, if I wanted to do this, I would open and confirm it. Now, if I want to change to a different amount, depending on the health ratio, if I want to get more degen, I can do the max, but I don't want to get liquidated. So I would do 1,300. I'm just kidding. No. So here's an example with 1,000. You can see here the health ratio is 1.41. My liquidation price is 26.66. Do not mess around with this stuff and lose money, because yeah, the airdrop is great, but you are better off, in my opinion, just simply holding and having hype. I want to show you guys these positions so you can see a snapshot. You see all these red numbers here, like all the losses. This was literally just the free money that I got from hype, and I sold it, and I was trying to get fancy, and I was like, you know what, I can multiply my hype and mess around with this stuff. At the end of the day, you're better off just simply holding hype. That's how it rolls. So create your positions and strategies around focusing on keeping that hype position. But anyways, now once you borrow these tokens, you can use the USDT.0. You can lend that out. You can also, an option is to borrow the Felix USD token, which is FEUSD. An option to do that, so you would lend out some hype. But keep in mind there are limits to the amount that you do. So like you have to mint a minimum of 1,000 FEUSD. So if you're not dealing with that type of size, then you won't be able to do something like this. But it's okay. You're not like canceled out. You can do the vanilla model, which is you just borrow any tokens at a particular rate. Now, we already talked about loop type. This is basically just distributed already. But basically what these guys are doing is they're lending out hype and staking it, taking that stake to borrow more hype, and that's how they're getting this high yield, or it's a high yield product. But keep in mind there's smart contract risk, especially when the tokens come off parity and they're holding peg properly, you can get absolutely roasted, but something to consider. Now, another protocol to mess around with is going to be Liquid Launch. This is basically the pump fund of Hyperliquid. Now, I know what you're saying. You're like, we don't need another pump fund. We don't need any more tokens. Well, people are going to degen. They're going to play around with stuff. At least make a couple of transactions. It's probably even a good idea to create a token. So I'm just going to do a test token and just create it there. This is a test. And then we'll do HyperSwap because HyperSwap is cool. I'm not going to buy any tokens. I'm literally just going to create this just for fun. Oh, actually, I got to buy some. So we're just going to buy one hyped worth and just do this because I guess why not? There is no website. There is no Twitter. We don't even have an image. We'll make an image. I'll just find something. All right, so I created this token. I went ahead and uploaded this file. Don't buy this coin, guys. I'm literally just creating it to farm an airdrop. So I'm going to go ahead and post a transaction and push it through. All right, so our token is created successfully, and now we can just go to check the tokens. So I guess at this point, we would just see which ones are in progress. Oh, so in progress is going to be the tokens that haven't bonded. Again, if you haven't used Pump Fund before, there's bonded tokens, and then there's one that are in progress. The bonded ones means that they reached a certain threshold, and then they're sent to the DEX. Like right now, these tokens are literally just held directly onto the LiquidSwap platform, which again is kind of like your Pump Fund. It's taking some time to load, so we'll come back to it. Now, the other protocol to keep an eye on is this one goes live on the 27th/28th, is going to be Hyperdrive. This is a borrowing and lending protocol staying focused on the stablecoins, but they just raised 6 mil from a couple of larger players and VC funds in the space. So these guys, I'm like 100% sure they're going to have a token. So it's probably a good idea to mess around with this. Now, another one is Kitten Swap. Kitten Swap is literally just like HyperSwap. Just make some swaps, play with the pools, do your thing. That's about it. Farm the token. There is a kitten token. So this is how you can farm the coin itself. Well, I tried coming back to the site. It's absolutely cooked. I can't even get onto it to see my token, but I can see on the Block Explorer that I did get some tokens, and I guess, I don't know, I guess some bots bought into it. But yeah, don't buy this token. It's literally just a random token. This is the contract where it's held in. Actually, no, they sold it. So it looked like the bots went right in and right out. But let's see if we can pull it up under the contract address. Because, yeah, it doesn't even show. The site is so glitchy and so laggy, but I guess it's because people are coming in now. But anyways, that's how you use Liquid Launch. It's basically the pump fund of Hyperliquid. But those are some of the different protocols that you can use. And last but not least, I do want to show you this because I forgot some people may not know how to do this. If you're trying to create a pool, it's really easy to do. All you do is you select between standard or concentrated. If you're new to this, just do standard. This will give you the infinite range. You won't get extremely high yields, but you won't experience a thing called impermanent loss. It's not fun. But let's just take 2 tokens, for example. We can do some Buddy and some DNDX. And obviously, you got to approve the transaction. Actually, it's better just to do a more stable pair. So let's say we'll do some Hype and we'll do some Buddy. So we can do 1 Hype and then whatever the Buddy is. The reason I'm doing volatile is because this is Hyperliquid token and this is a random meme coin. If I was doing 2 stable coins, then I would just stick with the stable one. But I would select how much liquidity I want to add, and then I would approve and put it in. Make sure, it's really important you do this. You start with a little bit, a small amount if you're creating your own pool, because it will just get absolutely roasted. Like, it'll get hard to mess by the bots. So if I put 1 Hype and 1 Buddy is not worth 1 Hype. It's like 5 cents or something like that, or 30 cents. So you're going to get roasted. Don't do that. Another option is you can find some of the pools that are already created. So let's say, for example, I want to do Hype and L Hype. I would just add liquidity here. So I would go here and I would deposit some Hype. I don't have wrapped Hype in my wallet, so I'm going to do regular Hype, and then I'm just going to do 1 and 1. So come down here. Oh, I got to set the valid range. I'm just going to do a narrow range because why not? They're supposed to be liquid tokens. Or not liquid, LST tokens, so they're supposed to stay similar in price. So I would just deposit these 2. It automatically pre-populates it for me, and I'm going to be earning points once I deposit into this. I'm going to be getting some kitten points. Good stuff. But yeah, that's simply all you do. You'd approve the L Hype to deposit, and then you would deposit it into the pool. Really glitchy right now. Anyways, guys, that's how you would farm the Hyperliquid EVM as well as the Hyperliquid Airdrop and some of the native protocols that are on there. I'll drop all the links in the description below so you guys can navigate and play around with it. But again, best thing to do is keep it simple and focus on maximizing your Hype tokens. Don't get too degen. Don't play around with the meme coins. You will get roasted. You can if you want. but understand you're going to lose your shirt. Let's hit you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 14, verses 11. The house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the righteous, or the upright, will flourish. Be good, be righteous. I'll leave the links in the description below. And if you guys want to join the exclusive Discord, there's a link in the description below for that as well. Peace out, guys.